Welcome back everyone to Data Science for Everyone. Today we're going to be looking at joins with SQLite. Let's get started. So one of the most powerful things that we can do with SQL is being able to join multiple tables together in order to create up a joined table itself. And it is, again, probably the defining characteristic of SQL itself. And it sets it apart from a lot of other data technologies, or at least back whenever it was first created. So we're going to be looking at some different types of databases that we're going to be using today. And so let's go on and create up a new SQL file here, and I'm going to call this joins examples.sql. And let's go on and create up a quick. We want to select everything from customer, and we're going to limit this to 10. And I'm going to use the Rexon Metals database today. So one of the things that I've started kind of doing just to kind of save us some time, I've been using this limit statement just in general because, again, some people, again, they don't have that big of a RAM on their computer, and they'll have a tendency to kind of crash, all right, or just hang for a long time. Again, and I'll put this even just kind of as, again, there's not really even 10 lines, okay, in this particular database, but I've been putting it up there just to kind of, as a standard thing now, just to limit the output that's popping up for you guys, because, again, I don't want you guys to crash your computer or anything else. So again, not that it would 100% of the time, but again, let's just deal with it, okay? So first thing that we're going to do here, we're going to look at the customer table here. And so here we have customer ID, we have name, region, street address, city, state, zip. So our hope then is that if we look at the customer order table and we run this, again, we have the order ID, order date, ship date, customer ID, product ID, order query, or order quantity, sorry, and then whether it is shipped or not. So what we're going to want to do with these is actually use the key, okay? So again, this gives us the key. The key between each of these that they have in line here, okay, are the customer ID, all right? So if we want to, let's say, again, they have, and again, we have the customer ID, we have the order ID. So this is the key for the order, is the order ID. And then we also have the sub keys or that are used between others. So for example, this customer ID was from our customer table. So I can bring that up over here again. I can run this, and again here, notice we have this customer table. And if I change this up and do the product table, we also see that it had a product ID as well. And all of those were inside of the customer order table. Okay, so again, these show kind of the connections between them. And again, a lot of times you would have your own map between them, but again, let's not worry about that right now. We're just trying to get the basics in. So first off is we're going to be doing inner joins. So, and again, we need to understand the relationship between the tables so that again we can consider what might be a nice way to stitch two tables together. And you know what? Let me hold on and let me go on and grab up a drawing of the interconnectiveness of the Rexon Metals database. Okay, so I went over and I'm pulling up a visualization of the connections between all of our databases here. So from all of this, we can see how there's a little bit of an interaction. Now I'm going to move these kind of out of the way. These aren't really connected to anything. But what we have in here is our customer order. I mean, can I zoom in on this a little bit more? No, not really. But so we have three different tables here. Okay, we have the customer order here, and if you can see in here, there is a key in here, and that is the main key. All right, that's this golden key here, and again here we have this blue key, which are sub keys. And if we follow it over here, we can see that this customer order is connected to, by customer ID to customer ID, okay, to this other key. Now, then the other direction here, we see that it's product ID to product ID. Now, the thing is that the keys themselves can be named different things as long as you know what the relationship is between them, okay? And we'll talk more about how all of this works when we start talking about database design. But at least you can see here that customer and the product aren't linked directly together. They're only linked via the customer order. Again, if a customer doesn't order anything, they're not going to have a product. So then this is all going to be this relationship. It's kind of a slightly like a V triangular relationship in here. So let's go on and get started with actually giving these joins a try. So first off, we know that we have our customer order and our customer ID. So let's do something like select order ID, and we want from the customer table, we also want the customer ID. We want the order date. Let's also grab the ship date, the name, the street address, the city, the state, the zip, and we'll do also product ID, order quantity. And so then from here, we also want to do, I want to make sure you guys have enough space to see that. We'll do from customer, inner join. In here, we want the customer order on, and then here we'll do customer dot customer ID is equal to here the customer order dot customer ID. Okay, so this is where we're actually going to be doing this and taking care of this. Now, let me discuss again what an inner join is. Okay, an inner join is going to allow us to merge two tables together, but if we are going to merge the tables, we also need, again, we're going to have to define up what their common line is, and that is going to be our customer ID here. Okay, so what we should be seeing here is this. Okay, we have an order ID, a customer ID, and then we're grabbing in our order date, our ship date, our name, our street address, country, state, zip, product ID, and the order quantity, okay? So again, the select fields we want, again, are the customer and the order tables. And it's also important, again, that this is only temporary. We're temporarily merging the tables together. This is not permanent. Let me see also what we want to do here. Let's go on and do a left join. Okay, so a left join in this instance, again, let's say two customers are excluded from the inner join on our customer ID since they didn't have any orders to join on. Okay, so they actually didn't order anything yet. Now we want to say, let's do this on left. So we're going to modify, actually, let me undo that. And we're going to modify this previously. So let me run this one more time. So we can see here that there are 5 rows. So I'm going to go on and change this. Instead of an inner join, we'll use the left join. And now look here. We see that we have 7. Those are the 2 that we missed out on, and their order ID is null, as well as their date, shipments, and their product ID and their quantities, because again, they had not ordered anything. Okay, so again, you can already see how valuable this is going to be whenever you are checking on customers and customer orders and everything. This is what's going on a lot of the times in the background when you guys are checking your UPS shipments, your FedEx shipments, whatever else, okay? So the table specification of the left side of the left join operator will have its records included, okay? So left, this is based on the customers, not the customer orders, okay? Now, even if they do not have any child records, okay, pertaining to the right table. Notice again that we do have 2 additional records, okay? We can see that here. We have this record right here and this record right here. Now, it is common to use a left join to find orphaned child records, okay? So what we can do with this, so orphaned child records, again, is something that they're missing some sort of value in them. So let's go on and do that. I'm going to actually delete everything so that we start over fresh and clean. So let's do something like select customer.customer ID here, name as customer name. And then we'll do something like from customer left join, and here we want customer order. Yeah, left is customer, right is going to be customer order. On here again, our customer.customer ID is equal to our customer order.customer ID, where order ID is null. Whoops, and I need a comma right there. So here we see that we have these, this shows us 2 of our orphaned records. Okay, they don't actually have any orders, so maybe, for example, reason you would want to do this is you have customers that have a tendency to always send in requests or something, and all of a sudden they stop. Why would they stop? You want to call them and say, hey, did you find a better service? If you guys go bankrupt, what's going on? Now, one thing, okay, you can, there are left joins, right joins, that type of stuff. Now, SQLite only has the left join. Again, here's the thing. It doesn't matter, okay? All you have to do if you want to do a right join on this is just switch customer order and customer. You just flip them around, okay? And you can do a quote-unquote right join. It's best just to, I usually just use a left join, and then I can just keep that one idea in my mind and how things work. Now we can also join multiple tables, okay? Because again, we are using relational databases, okay? So that, again, that's the beauty of all of this. So in more complex terms, what are we going to want to do? So we can supply not only customer information to the customer order table, but we can also add in product information using the product ID. Okay, so we can use all three of these tables that we have here. Okay, so we want to have in this next query, what we'll have is we'll have customer information, customer order information, as well as their product information in one place for us. So let's go on and do this. And now we're gonna be taking in a lot of information here, looking at a lot of all 3 of the different tables simultaneously. So this will wind up being a slightly longer query than what we have had before. So let's do select here, and we want order ID, customer.customer ID, name as customer name. We want the street address, we want the city, we want the state, we want the zip, we want the order date, we want the product table.product ID, and then we want the description of said product, we want the order quantity. We also want to grab the price, so we want order quantity multiplied by our price, and then we want this as revenue. Okay, so we're adding in a lot of stuff in here, and I'm gonna let me shorten this up just a little bit. I know it looks a little bit messy, but I'm doing this just so we can see everything in one place. All right, so from customer, we're going to do an inner join here, and we want this on customer order on here. And I'm going to do this in another line. On, again, we want customer dot customer ID is equal to customer order dot customer ID. Now we're going to do another inner join on product. Okay, and this is going to be on the customer order dot product ID is equal to product table with the product ID. Okay, so that's it. Now when we run this, we're going to get a fantastic table here. So we have in here our order ID, our customer name, street, country, state, zip. Now we have the order date, the product ID, the description of said order, the quantity, and then again now we have the revenue of that particular order. So we're able to do a lot of very interesting things to grab very complex data from our tables now, as well as exploring all of these different facets of being able to, like, for example, calculate up revenue. So now let's maybe say that we want to calculate up and use groups on our joins. Okay, so in this instance, we want to calculate up our total revenue. Okay, so they say, what's our revenue for, maybe you have the data sheets for this quarter, or you have it for the year, or for all time, it doesn't matter. But let's do select our customer ID. So for example, maybe you want to know who to send gifts to at the end of each quarter, saying that they're good customers. So name as customer name. So we'll do sum here on the order quantity multiplied by price as total revenue from customer order. We'll do an inner join here on customer, and then we want on customer ID is equal to customer order customer ID, and then we want another inner join here on product on the customer order product ID is equal to, in here, our product ID, and again we want to group these by 1 and 2 to run this. And let's take a look here. All right, so now we actually have our total revenue by each of our customers. So then, for example, now we know that Marsh Lane Metalworks is our #1 customer, and we're going to be able to grab onto them and say, hey, thank you for being a great customer, maybe send them a fruit basket. So maybe we want, though, all customers so that we can use this left join in place of our inner join. So let's go on and actually do that. Let's change this to left, and run that again. And again, notice here that it actually isn't going to do anything in here because I need to actually go through and go up here and coalesce all of these. So can I do that up here? Excuse me. And we need to do this on, can we do it on the whole? I'm trying to think about what we need to do here in order to coalesce what was actually popping up as null. I believe it was the order quantity. So we can do coalesce on our order, 0 otherwise. Will that do it for us? No. So let's remove this. Remove this. Let's do coalesce here. Give me just a second and double check. All right, so let's go on and just redo this to make sure that we do everything correctly, okay? So we want to make sure that everything actually stands out using the left join. So let's do select customer ID here. We want name, and let's do as customer name. And then we'll do something like sum of the order query or quantity, and we want to do this multiplied by price as total. Let's just do total rev from customer here, and then we'll do a left join on the customer order. On here, our customer ID is equal to our customer order customer ID, and then we'll do something like left join here. We want product, and then we'll do on customer order product ID is equal to our product ID, and then we'll group by again 1 and 2. Comma. Excuse me. We'll do as. Let me double check here what is going on today. Having a little bit of trouble. All right, so we need here. All right, so then now we actually have all of our revenue available to us is with all of the customer names here. And we can see here that we have these null values for the individuals that do not have any revenue. So let's see about what else we would like to do here. So let's actually make this so that these wind up being 0. Okay, so we can go back through and we can do something like here. We'll do coalesce, and we'll do 0 here, run. And now we see here that the revenue from those individuals that did not have any sales are now 0. So again, what we've actually been doing here is dealing with joins. And again, joins are probably one of the most challenging topics in SQL. If you guys like these videos on these types of things, I'll be increasing the number of SQL videos that I have later on. So again, if you guys like this, please comment, subscribe, and hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.